Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD, Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. So today I have an incredible guest today. Prins Doornekamp is going to be talking from the Netherlands, is going to be talking about driving circular systems. Oh, this is very interesting. In the battery industry, from waste to opportunity. So with that, I'm going to bring Prins on board. Hi, Prins. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. And thank you for having me on the show.
So tell me a little bit about, what inspired you to establish NOS, and how did you get into it? Did it just one day you woke up and said, "Oh, I want to do this company. I'm really interested in the battery industry." How did you get in? What was your personal journey like?
Yeah, it started already quite a while back. In 2008, I developed a lithium battery for my own motorbike. I put that in production in 2009, and then in 2010 created a factory in the Netherlands for the development and production of lithium-ion batteries. Sold the company in December 2017, and one of the questions I was receiving at the end of my career at my company was, "Well, what are we going to do with the old batteries that are end of life?" And we didn't have a solution as a manufacturer. And that's how NOS sparked, actually. So over the course of 2018, beginning of 2019, started thinking about it more and more. And that's when we founded NOS to see if we can extend the life of lithium batteries, or as we say, create a circular economy for lithium-ion batteries that is profitable for all stakeholders.
I have 14 e-bikes. In fact, I have a couple of Gazelles from the Netherlands, actually. The T10 Plus and the Medeo, actually. And I think about it. I have two batteries in each one of them, and I think about it. I think about my one bike that I just rode yesterday, and the battery's starting to get bad. And I'm thinking about, what do I do with it? I'm like, why do these things get bad? And what do I do with it in terms of throwing it away? It is not like you can just put it in the garbage, right? It's one of those things.
Hey. That's not a smart idea for several reasons. First of all, if you put it in the garbage, you often catch fire at the disposal companies and the waste companies. And that is one of their main issues, is that they catch fire because people throw lithium batteries in from power tools, e-bikes, or from the camper van. So that's always, that's not a good way to go. The other thing is that often the battery is still quite valuable. And so that's why we repair. Most of the repairs are fairly simple or straightforward. What you do with that, you save out the replacement value, so your cost is lower, but also you save a lot of rare earth materials. And they come from mines, for example, in Congo, or in Europe, we are highly depending on China. And by repairing, you keep also the raw materials in the European economy.
No, I love it. So how did your experience as Super B and was it GYBE engineering influence your vision? How did that impact your vision for NOS?
That are the lessons learned. And so if you look at my career with my old engineering company, and that I stopped that and then went into the batteries, and so in the production. So we approach it, because I think of my history, from a really technical point of view. We really want to understand the application, what drives the clients, and we are less concerned about maximizing profit or EBITDA. And it's for us really getting that circular economy going, and what I said, making it profitable for all stakeholders. And by doing that, I think that's also the main driver for the success, because now everybody in the chain, in the value chain, makes money out of it. And that's always a good thing, because that motivates people.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, for listeners unfamiliar with the term, circular battery ecosystem, what does it mean? Can you tell them what that means?
In the past, we had a strongly linear economy. So a battery was being produced, put on the market, and when it did not was not usable anymore for the first use, it was disposed of. And disposal could be in several ways. It just can go to a landfill, or it's being recycled. So some materials are being you get back out of that process. And what we do is we extend the life of the battery. So before it actually goes to recycling, so somewhere in between, it's not fit for first use anymore because it's broken. We repair it and it goes back to the same application, often even to the same client or the same people. And you can do that a few times. So we even have batteries for ride shares. They have high use and high demand for maintenance. Some batteries we get 4 or 5 times for repair before it's end of use. And that's how you create a circular economy. And then we work with partners that do, let's say, second life applications. So if it's not usable anymore for the first life, also not after repair, often there is a second life application, and only then it goes to recycling. And so what you get, that a battery, let's say, of an average lifespan of 5 years, we extend it to 10 years or sometimes even.
Oh, I love that. And so, how do we exactly, Prince, do we define or differentiate battery repair from battery recycling, and why is this distinction important?
Actually, battery recycling, the term, the definition is officially also what we do, but we as normal citizens, we think of recycling, bringing it to a facility that crunches it and get materials back out of it. So
Yeah, exactly. But that's not what it should be, right? It should be, it's, so is there a difference between repair and recycling in your definition, or are they the same?
yeah. Yeah, so if you really look at the recycling company, they destroy the product and try to reclaim the materials. We keep the product as is, we improve it, and then put it back in the market again. So that's a real difference in what we do. And then there's one in between, and there's remanufacturing. And that could be what it means in Europe is that it's batteries taking out of first life. You upgrade it or you bring it really close to the original specifications and you resell it back into the market.
I love it. I mean, I was thinking about it yesterday with one of my e-bikes. I was thinking about, what do you do? So here's the thing. I have a question for you. Can you take the battery, let's say an e-bike battery, do you go down through and can you actually improve the battery? Because you could actually put more batteries inside of it and better quality batteries, right? You could actually make it better than what it is.
Yeah, that's technically possible, but we don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is simple. The battery has a type approval. So like FCC in the US, for example, we have it here in Europe. One of the type approvals you need is UN 38.3. That's for transportation. And then we have CE in Europe. And if you alter the battery in specifications, then those type approvals are void. So the battery is not compliant anymore, or you need to recertify it. And that is a costly process that can add up to 20, 30, or sometimes even 50,000 euros. So that's and so timely. It can take up to 3 to 4 months to go through the process. So for high volume, I think you can do it. But that's one of the problems. Also, what the European Union is struggling with. There are a lot of companies in every member state that has that does a refurbishment, but it means you have a battery that's not compliant anymore. So what happens if something goes wrong?
Prince, I never thought about that. So if you take a battery, right, and you take the exact battery and you take, I don't know, Samsung or Sanyo cells and take those old ones out and put the same ones back in, right? Is that compliant then?
Yeah, that is allowed. That is allowed if you stay within a similar cell within, I believe, 5% of the original capacity. Then it's still UN 38.3 approved. But if you alter the capacity more than, I believe, 5%, but also if you alter the safety mechanism, So, for example, you put in new electronics, per definition, you alter the safety of the battery, then you need to recertify.
And there could be liability associated with that too, right?
Yeah, but the main problem is for the OEMs, so the vehicle manufacturers, the battery manufacturers, their brand name is on it. And so if somebody else changes it and something happens with it, then they see the brand name and they directly relate that to the manufacturers, while they probably have nothing to do with it. And that's one of the reasons why we work with most of the OEMs, so with the manufacturers, to make sure that they have more control over it and that the batteries are being repaired and handled in a proper way.
No, that's interesting. And so how's business?
Good. We grow. Last year in 24, we did 550,000 kilo, approximately 90,000 batteries, and with a repair efficiency of 89%. So it means that 11% could not be repaired, but from those batteries we reuse components. And then if you do some other calculations, you come to a recycling efficiency, as we call it, of 98%. So actually 2% is waste of what we do.
What about the US? Are you going to move into the US?
It's on the planning. So within the next couple of years, three to 5 years. And we already have some contacts in North America, but it's a matter of capacity. Scaling up, we double year on year. So that goes quite fast already. It's a bit, quite a bit of constraint on the management team and the rest of the organization. So there's a bit of the limiting factor is the people in the organization.
So how much, let's say a battery, I know for my Gazelle bike, I bought another one of those 500-watt batteries. It ran about $700 for the Gazelle battery, right? $800. I don't remember exactly, but around that. So if that battery, if I come into you and I say, hey, listen, I want to refurbish this battery, how much does it cost? What part of that price? If it costs $700 new, what is it, half the price and you'll repair it, or 3/4? How does it work?
Yeah, around 40%.
Well, that's
of the replacement price.
That is fantastic, because I hear a lot of people, I'm in the, I had an early e-bike in the US back in 2016. And I hear people complaining about the batteries a lot, actually, because it's the one thing. You want to ride your bike, but you want to make sure you got a good battery. So that's great. So what technical challenges do you frequently encounter in battery repair process, and how do you solve them? What are some of the big things? You talked about electronics, but what kind of things happen that,
The main challenge is to get cooperation from OEMs if we don't work with those manufacturers already, and that is more on the software side. So most batteries are smart batteries. So if we have the software or the protocols, it shortens the repair time. That being said, starting from April next year, the European Union changed the battery regulations, and that means that OEMs need to start cooperating. So they cannot prevent repair companies to, or they cannot lock them out on software, those kind of things. So I think that would greatly help. From mid-2027, they also need to provide repair manuals. So it's really from EU regulations that they try to take away the barriers for repairing. So
yeah, I have a question for you. So you got Gazelle bikes. I love Gazelle bikes, by the way. But you've got Gazelle bikes, $5,000 or $6,000 bike, but then you've got something like EUY bikes that are around, one I got was around $1,200, right? How much different are the batteries in these? I mean, it would seem to me that, because there's no way they could be the same quality battery. I don't know. I've never opened it up, so I don't know, but it seems to me they're not even close. Is it true?
Yeah, that's true. I have a Gazelle bike myself, by the way. And for example, Gazelle, as we call it Gazelle in Dutch. It's a Dutch bike.
What's it called again? So I say
Gazelle.
Gazelle.
Gazelle. Yeah, it's an animal in Africa that can go really fast.
Yeah, gazelle in English. Yeah.
Gazelle. Yeah, exactly. And So a Gazelle bike, for example, they use Bosch e-bike system, and the Bosch batteries I think are of the highest quality in e-mobility that you can get. But there's a price tag on it, and if you go to some of the, let's say, Asian OEMs, yeah, they are being built for budget bikes, let's say. So yeah, the quality is automatically quite a bit lower, and I don't think that is to blame to the Chinese manufacturer, but to blame to the vehicle OEM, vehicle manufacturer, because they want to have the cheapest possible battery, and then those battery manufacturers make what you ask for. So if you only want to pay a budget price, then they can only offer a budget quality.
Now, can you go down through if you go down through and recycle one of those batteries? Can you go down through if you had one of those cheaper bikes and put a better quality battery in it? Can you do that? I mean, same, power, but a better quality. Can you do something like that? Is that possible?
In most cases, it's really hard because the battery is communicating with the controller or the motor on the bike, and so they need to talk the same protocol or same language, and mostly that is closed. And so now it becomes interesting because of the new European battery regulations. The battery manufacturers need to cooperate, also providing the protocols, at least part of the protocols for repair. So that could lead to that companies start to understand how the whole protocol is working and making aftermarket batteries of more premium quality, but could also be the other way around. If you say, I don't want to pay 900 euros for a battery, I only want to pay 400, that you perhaps could buy a budget battery.
Interesting. And can you quantify the environmental impact that you believe you'll achieve or have achieved since the founding? I mean, it sounds like it's a profound impact that people don't even realize, right? But what do you think?
Yeah, it is huge. Since this year, since April, I believe, we hired Alex Amour, that is our Chief Impact Officer. Alex is French American, and she's now calculating and crunching the numbers to create impact reports. So we have done more detailed and a more concise way of calculation, because a lot of companies use different calculations for the impact. But give you a few numbers, replacing a battery compared to repairing, that saves at least 25 kilos of CO2. And if you look at other numbers, like if you cobalt is mainly used in a battery, to have 1 kilogram of cobalt, you need to mine 250 kilo of cobalt ore, and that is all what you avoid by repairing instead of replacing.
What are the biggest misconceptions companies have when it comes to sustainability and batteries? I mean, because you don't hear about it much. You don't hear. I mean, people throw their batteries away. I mean, quite frankly, they just throw them away. But what are some of the big misconceptions that companies have when it comes to sustainability and batteries?
Safety, I would say. So we are now working also on how to qualify the state of safety, as we call it. How can we prove and show to the customer that after repair the battery is safe, perhaps even more safe? So doing a regular checkup of your battery also gives you an
idea. Prince, people don't understand you can burn your house down with these batteries.
Yeah,
in New York, right? There's some rules in New York. If you're not UL approved, you can't come into the city with your e-bikes anymore, right? There's rules. And the reason is to catch on fire, right? Some of these crappy batteries.
Yeah, and it's a real hazard, because if you look on YouTube and you look at battery fires, you see it's quite devastating. And then what we do is, we make sure that we do it safely. So also that we do all kind of tests, also end of line tests, and to make sure that the battery is safe when it leaves the company. But if you look at on what is arriving, we have multiple batteries a week that are in such a poor shape that they sometimes even catch fire just by handling it, just taking them out of the packing material.
Really? You've had battery-free e-bikes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
And
that's
that's where,
cool. So you picked them out of the pack and they catch on fire?
yeah, yeah, we have big bins. They deliver 100 to 130 batteries in a bin. We even had ones that a client loaded the bins, let's say the crates on the truck, and in the first roundabout, the whole truck was on fire.
Oh my
And
gosh. If
yeah,
people don't understand, Prince, it's a huge problem, right? I think we should have like regular battery safety checks, inspect them. I mean, to check it out, because on one side the battery may not last. I mean, it's a problem, right? I've had a couple of my e-bikes that have 3 or 4 thousand miles on them, and I'm already see degradation in the battery. So the other side is you can keep them optimal.
yeah, and you cannot see the problems on the inside. So, for example, if you dropped your battery, the battery could still look okay from the outside, but you'd never know from the inside. And another problem is in areas where you have a lot of rain, like we have here in the Netherlands, or let's say in Vancouver in Canada. You get a lot of water ingress. Batteries is really hard to make them, yeah, really IP, as we call, ingress protected, and that is, it doesn't happen immediately, but over time you get a corrosion and then problems start. And another thing is that people use the wrong charger, or they modify the battery somehow because something was broken. They try something else, and most problems you have during charging or just after charging. So our recommendation is never charge the battery in house, and especially not in your office.
Yeah, but a lot of people do, right?
Yeah, but it's not because if you are in an office and you charge it and something happens, it's really a lot of smoke and fire. And so it's and here in the Netherlands, for example, and also some other European countries, it's also not allowed anymore. But they have, let's say, special cabinets where you can charge your e-bike, because the municipality they all want you to go on your e-bike,
Yeah, they
not
want
with a car.
they don't, it's
Yeah.
like it is in Florida, right? They want you to use your bikes, but at the same time, there's no charging stations to charge them. So you have to do it in your garage or your house. You have no choice.
Yeah, that's correct. But you can be smart about it. So in our home, we have one daughter, so we are with the three of us. And every night when I go to sleep, first I do a round through the house and get everything on battery out of the mains plug. So the e-bikes, the laptops, the iPads, the earplugs, everything, I take them out, and we can go at least go to bed safely.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, people don't understand it, but I mean, soon you're going to see more rules and regulations come in about it because there's too much activity, right? Too many. And and the other thing is there's no like I don't know about you, but like some of these e-bikes talk about, they'll get 85 to 90 miles on a charge, but they don't get even until they get like 25 or 30, even if you're going a lower speed. There's no like uniform measurement of the potential of a battery. It's crazy, right? You don't, they say this is what they have, 40 AH or whatever, but they may not have it. It may be 20, and you can't, who knows?
Yeah, that's in the e-bikes or the e-packs. There are very little standards. If you look at the automotive, they have a lot of standards also for how you calculate the range, the mileage, but also on charging, for example. Every e-bike or every e-bike battery has a different charge plug. So that's quite annoying. And also the connectors on the rest of the battery, the form factor is everywhere differently. So it's difficult to find good replacement products. Another problem we see, that's why repairing works. A lot of batteries, they stop producing them after 3 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So if your bike is 5 years and your battery breaks down, you cannot buy a new one, meaning that the value of your bike is almost nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about that, right? And by coming to you, you can continually repair them and fix them and recycle them so they don't have the problem. You can. That's the thing is, that's planned obsolescence, and they do that so you'll buy more bikes.
Yeah, but we do not only do e-bikes, so we also do more industrial batteries, and there we see actually the same problems. So if you have, let's say, for material handling, like you see in factories, there they have similar problems. So they buy a machine, it's 5, 6, 7 years old, the battery is not being produced anymore. And that are mostly bigger batteries, so meaning the problem is even bigger than
You know, you quote Mahatma Gandhi on your LinkedIn,
Yep.
and you say, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." How's this philosophy shaped your decisions as a leader, and how has it shaped your view of humanity?
Uh, what it actually says, be intrinsic motivated and less intrinsic, extrinsic. So I'm not in it only for the money. Of course, money is an important part because if you do something, then it's nice to earn some money. But yeah, this is something I found important and I believe in, and that's why I'm doing it. That is the main reason.
Now, I love that. And what legacy do you want Noah's to leave in the industry and the broader world?
That we made a small change to society, and that is creating that circular economy. And we were not the first one. We are at the moment the biggest one, and so we planted that seed, and we showed to the industry and to the European leaders that this is possible.
I love that. So we're coming up to the top of the show. Closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you, Prins? And then once the show's over, if you want to stay online, we can speak for a few minutes.
Sure.
So what's closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, now people can get a hold of us through LinkedIn, Prins Doornekamp, NOWOS, or at our website, nowos.com. And closing thoughts. Yeah, be mindful about batteries and what you do with it, and also the valuable resources that are in. And luckily, we already see more and more people demanding repair instead of only replacing.
Yeah, I love that. I really appreciate taking your time out of your busy schedule, Prins, to join us today. And I thank all of you for joining today. GSD presents Top Global Startups. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. We'll be back again soon with another exciting edition. Thanks, everybody, and thanks, Prins.